What's up everybody? Today I'm going to show you how I install this quick shift transmission controller on my E4OD transmission in my 1991 F250. If you haven't seen any of my other videos, this is my 351 Windsor that I rebuilt and then carb swapped on top of that. You can check out all of my other videos if you want to see what's led us up to that point. Since this was EFI and the transmission was controlled by a computer, we're no longer sending inputs to the computer since it's carb swapped, so we're going to need to run a standalone transmission controller to be able to properly shift our transmission. Here's the box it came in. Came with an instruction packet that's about a mile long. We have some slit loom, which I paid extra for. Not for sure, I think maybe like 15 bucks for all this. We have our controller. And then we have a couple different wiring harnesses that plug into this controller. It comes with a USB cable to be able to hook up to this and make changes, or just talk to that from the computer. And then I paid $25 for this extra. It's a pin removal tool, so you can remove these connectors and then fit the wire through a smaller hole in the firewall. I did not realize what I was getting with this. If I would have realized this was all I was getting, I probably wouldn't have paid the $25 for it. And we got a sticker, 2 stickers, pretty cool. One cool thing I just noticed was these are actually Ford connectors, which is kind of cool. This is a big packet, but the actual installation doesn't seem like it's very long. It's only about 6 pages total in here of actual installation and startup, but then it gets into extra stuff. I don't really see anything that would be applicable to me in the extras, except for the TAC signal. I guess that's optional. And then maybe some 4x4 stuff, which we can look into later. But for right now, I just want to get this thing in and then get the truck fired up and see if we can get her on the road. I'll take you guys through step by step what I do, show you the pages, so that way you can get a good understanding if you want to do this too on your rig. First thing I'm going to do before anything, I'm going to take the exhaust off around the transmission so we're not fighting it, breaking our wrists trying to get these connectors on. Alright, got the old harness out and I got the exhaust off, so we got easy access to the transmission. Just kind of double check some of our connectors here, make sure we got the right stuff. Oh no. Wait. Oh man. That's the wrong one. Gotta be kidding me. Alright, so I just got on their website and I definitely ordered the correct solenoid connector. That's what this is the solenoid connector, this gray one. I have it right here on my receipt that I ordered the early E4OD solenoid connector, and this is the late one, late model one. So called them, they didn't answer, so I guess we'll see what happens. Alright, so just got off the phone with US Shift customer service. Talked to a very nice older gentleman, asked me some questions to make sure I did indeed have the wrong connector, and long story short, they're going to send me out a brand new connector, fastest shipping possible. Should have it tomorrow, hopefully, that's what they said. But yeah, good customer service. Called me back within like an hour and got it all sorted out. No issues, so we'll see what happens. Alright, so while we wait on that other connector to show up, we can kind of start going through some of the steps here. First step is ground. So up here on the instructions, they have fuel injection and then carbureted or mechanical injected diesel. So for us, we're carbureted. So it says to connect the ground wire, pin 15 black, from the quick 4 directly to a battery ground post or negative battery cable. It says, do not connect the ground wire to sheet metal or other grounding source. It must be connected directly to the battery ground post or negative battery cable. I guess it's pretty sensitive, so we're going to hook it straight to the battery. And then, not to get ahead of ourselves or anything, but the next step is to hook up the hot. Same thing, we got fuel injected, and then carbureted diesel. For us, it just says to hook up the power wire, which is red. It has a 7.5 amp fuse in line, and it says to hook up that to a switched key. It says do not use accessory switched power. Power should be supplied during cranking as while running, which is vital to the quick 4 operating properly. I should be able to just hook it into my little fuse panel that I made up. That's switched power, and that has power when cranking as well. So should be good there. And then next step after that is hooking up the throttle position sensor, but we'll get into that later. We can knock out the ground and hot wire at the same time. Here's our harness with our main power and our ground. It hooks directly into our quick shift controller right here. Here's that inline fuse I was telling you about. This one we don't have to de-pin because there's no pin on this end, just the quick shift connection. So we'll get a hole drilled in our firewall in the truck and get this ran through there and hook up our hot and our ground. Let's go see where we poked through. Not bad, back in there, right behind the valve cover. Maybe a little bit more to the left, but that should work. Yeah, I think that was a good spot to drill that hole, because I was just looking here and it looks like our throttle position sensor wires are in this bundle too, so that's a good spot for that. I'm happy with where I put it. I think I'm gonna put some loom over this so it's protected from the metal, and I'll shove it through the hole. This plugs. This plugs in over here on the left side of it, so keep that. Like that. So how it is right now, we don't have enough wire to get all the way to our battery cables. For our ground, the hot wire is longer, so we might have enough room. But yeah, I don't know why they're telling you that you have to run to your battery and then not give you enough wire. So Alright, so I got our ground and our hot hooked up. One frustrating thing was the ground wire wasn't long enough to reach all the way to the battery cable, and in the instructions they specifically say to only hook straight to the battery cable and nothing else. And then on our hot wire over here, I hooked that up over to our little fuse panel thing that's switched ignition, and that's long enough. That's longer than every other wire, so I don't know why they couldn't have just made it a little bit longer. If it was just as long as the red wire, then it would have worked out for me, but I don't know. But I got our hot and ground hooked up, and then next we got to put our hook our throttle position sensor up, which is these 3 wires over here. Here's our throttle position sensor plug. I just got to wire this to those 3 wires and we should be good to go. Alright, we got our throttle position sensor wires connected over here. Had to cross-reference the throttle position install paperwork with the quick shift paperwork, because of course they had to use different colors. And then I'll get this plugged in and get moved on to the next step. Here on the next page we kind of have a basic wiring flow of what we just did. Our hot ground throttle position sensor, and then here's that pinout on that plug so you can verify that all the wires are correct. And then here's kind of on the next page, here's a simpler flow going from the controller to the transmission for our solenoid wires, park reverse neutral drive, and TSS. I think that's should be speed sensor in the back there. So step 4, all it says to do is just connect them. So I guess we'll go do that, except for the solenoid connector, since we're still waiting on that. I just realized I missed this step here. It says we have to connect the neutral safety switch and backup lamp switch. See page 16. We'll go to page 16. We have all of these connections that we need to make here. Pre-1997, that's us. We need to make a connection to ignition start, so terminal of ignition switch. Starter relay coil, not for sure where that's at. I know where it's at, I'm just not for sure where I need to connect it to. And then 12 volt run and backup lamp. And then over here it has some more diagrams. I think this is just another way to look at it with more pictures. This is for your safety switch wiring, connection details for traditional fender mount starter relay. That's us right here. So starter relay. Oh, okay, I see here. If you can kind of combine these two. So this starter relay is going to go to S, and then I. If I terminal is present, leave existing wire connected. If there is no existing wire at the I terminal, do not connect it to it. That just confuses me more. Ignition start, just to a keyed ignition source. Starter relay going to S. 12 volt run, backup lamp. Backup lamp. Oh, I guess we need to find the backup lamp wire. Oh, that's great. That'll be easy. No. Here's some more Bosch style manual to automatic conversion. Okay. Then it starts getting into the optional features, which we're not worried about right now. Got our speed sensor clip all loomed up here. We'll go throw this one on. I was able to get the connector off pretty easy with this pin removal tool. On this other one, however, on our range selector harness right here, I cannot get this clip off to save my life with the pin removal tool to get through the firewall. So I'm going to leave this one alone for now, go put this one in, and then I'll probably try to feed these through the harness that's already in there. And this one plugs right in to our speed sensor, which is right here. Just like that, nice and easy. All right, I got all that shoved in through this big piece of loom. They gave me just enough tiny loom to cover the whole transmission, just this little bit's exposed. And this is what we got through. We got a lot of extra on here. I'll get this connector back on here and we should be good with the vehicle speed sensor. Yeah, not being able to get this connector off is really frustrating. Basically how this works is there's two clips that stick out, and when you shove this in on each side, it depresses those two clips and then it pulls out. This gray one I can get out just like that. See the two clips on each side? This blue wire I cannot get out to save my life. This fits good. Got her shoved in. Haha. Freaking got it. Alright. Let's go run this one through the wall. Nice and snug. And looks like we got a lot of extra wire on this one, which is good. Extra loom for us. So pretty much all these white wires don't need to go inside the firewall, only these two. So alright, got those ran inside, doing the same thing. And then I got this extra loom, ran all the way over here with these wires. The only one that we're not going to need over here is our backup lamp wire. The backup lamp isn't necessarily needed to drive the vehicle, so I'm probably going to put that on the back burner, and then I'm probably going to have to probe over there and figure out which one lights up the backup lamps. As of right now, this is all we got in here. This one went back together pretty well. So now we just got to get these wired up, should be good. So just looking at this range sensor wiring here, I'm really confused on what the difference is between this 12 volts in run and this ignition start. And it looks like our ignition start is just a switched ignition hot to the hot side of the battery, and our 12 volts in run is a fused 12 volt switched ignition to the hot side of the battery. I don't understand what the difference is between these, so I'm just going to wire them up to the same terminal on my little fuse panel there, because there shouldn't be a difference. They're both switched hot. The only difference is this thing's going to the starter relay, but that's going to be the same voltage either way. I don't know. I'm going to wire it up to the same thing. Alright, this is where I ran those 2 wires. Got a 15 amp fuse on there, and then this is where our starter relay wire went to. Right up there on the start side of the relay. So this should be alright. And then next is setting it up. It says for calibration, if you do want to change what's loaded onto it, you do need a Windows PC so you can install the tuning software. It looks like for us, for setup, for throttle position sensor calibration, which you pretty much have to do, I think, you just do that on the of the throttle position sensor. You just do that with the handheld. I don't think you need a computer for that. We might be able to see if we can do that. Alright, our battery's hooked up. Plug in our we'll plug in what we got here. Let's see, this one goes over here. See if we get anything. What just happened? Yep, battery was dead. I just put the charger on it. We'll see what happens. I just want to see this thing turn on. And I thought I heard the truck kind of like try to start there. Got to make sure it's not going to try and start on us with that one wire we hooked up to the start terminal. Nope, 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 don't want that. Don't want that. Okay. Alright, so I disconnected our wire from our start terminal here. I'm going to go turn the key and see what happens. I got the battery on the charger, and we're at 14.3 volts, so that should be plenty. Gonna turn the key. All right. Says we're in park, that's good. Negative 40 degrees, that's not right. 0 miles per hour, that's right. Got some options here. Should be able to run the throttle position sensor calibration. I'll go get the instructions and see if we can do that. Go to setup menu. TPS setup. Click the knob again. All right. To calibrate throttle position, the ignition should be on, but the engine should not be running. Check. For carbureted engines, make sure the choke is fully open and off the fast idle cam. Check. Alright, auto set TPS. Setting idle TPS. Press acceleration pedal. Hold it. Release. Auto set success. Let's go. Sweet. Alright, and then all it's saying is our solenoid harness is pretty much not connected. So I guess it's good that it's recognizing that. Alright, so we got the controller in, got it fired up, and got that throttle position sensor calibrated. So I'm happy with where we're at. As of right now, we just have to wait for that solenoid harness to come in. They said it would be 1-day shipping. Obviously, it's not as good as it always sounds. It's actually going to take more like 5 days to come in. So whenever that comes in, we'll pick up there. Alright, so a whole week later, and we have the right solenoid connector. So we should be able to throw this in the truck, and that's the last thing we need before we can fire this thing up and get it on the road. Here's a little side-by-side comparison. The old one, which is the one we need, is the one on the left here, and then the newer style digital is on the right, which is what we do not need. So 2 connectors, 1 connector, along with the surrounding protection. I think that helps with keeping water out of the connector and stuff. So this is not what we need. This is what we need. Throw in a smaller hole. I just put a second hole up there next to our other one. And while I was actually waiting on our solenoid connector to come in, I actually found our backup light, which is on this green connector. It's this black wire with a pink stripe. So I hooked our backup lamp to this wire. Now we have backup lights. Then I also hooked up our 4x4 high and low indicator. That's these 2 blue wires, and they're going back to our transfer case. And those will indicate whether we're in high or low 4x4. That connector plugs in right here, which is next to our speed sensor right here. It had a lot of water and grease in it. I think that's right. Alright, we'll get our connector repinned and then plugged in, and then we'll turn the key, make sure it's reading right. Went ahead and got a new battery just to be on the safe side. If we can get it in here. There we go. See what happens when we turn the key. Alright. Alright. Looks like we got all good indications. No faults. Even that temperature should be just about right, 60 degrees. That's pretty cool. Alright. Alright, just gotta hook up the exhaust and should be able to see if this thing moves. Alright, everything should be good to go. I have the ignition unhooked. We're gonna crank her over, see if we can build up some oil pressure here. Uh-oh. Gotta be kidding me. I think what's going on is we need to wire that relay start switch to an actual wire in the existing wiring harness. That's probably not getting us our keyed start, but we can just go jump it and see what happens. Crank on this. And then we can barely see our oil pressure in there. I don't know if you guys can. Our gauge won't work if our key's not on. Alright, got good oil pressure. Give her a few pumps here. Oh shoot, we gotta turn our fuel pump on actually. Give her a few pumps. Kicked on. Got about 6 psi, that's good. Oil, should be good. Let's fire her up. Dang it. Gotta get on the gas. Got my foot on the gas, got good oil pressure. Warm her up here a little bit. Sounds like we're maybe missing. We'll help her out here, give her some gas. Give that cam some good lubrication. See if we got brakes. Goes to the floor, but it holds. It doesn't really want to idle. I'm gonna kick her off and then adjust that idle screw. All right, got our idle screw adjusted. Come on now. Oh, truck's off. There we go. That sounds good. she does there. Let her warm up for a little bit. All right, let's see if we can move or if we have brakes. Brake pedal goes to the floor, but it does hold. All right, reverse. Oh, kind of moved. Neutral drive, we're holding. Oh, we're moving. Oh, we're going. Let's go. All right, let's see if we can get this thing pulled into the garage. All right, can we roll our window down? Yeah, we can. All right. Oh, that was hard. We're turning? Are we turning? Heck yeah, we are. That's what's up, boys. Our quick shift is looking good. Holding at 50 pounds of oil pressure just about. Am I about to hit anything? You guys gotta let me know. We're moving. We are moving. Will my truck fit? It does not want to move though, to be honest. Will it fit? This is a good question. Still got good oil pressure. Alright, our brakes work fine, which is good. We're up to temp at 180. That's looking good. Idling at 1,000 right now. Fans are on. Off here. What the? Get this board pulled out of here. Got good oil pressure. right, brakes work. Barely. Let's see if this can swing out. Oh yeah, brakes work good. Oh yeah. Be right back. Doesn't really want to go forward very well. I think our brakes might be a little stuck. We'll just take her around the block, check her out. Oh yeah, she shifted hard. All right. Take her down here. It's friggin' shaking. It's finally moving, guys. It's finally moving. All right, we're going down a hill. Oh. Brakes are bad, they're really shaking. Got a bunch of kids here on the road, that's good for me. Give her the, she's good, guys, she's good. The turn signals work? I don't know. Oh yeah. She's shifting? Heck yeah, guys. Ooh, she's shifting hard. We might be a little low on fluid. She's running. Looks like our quick shift's working good. It's shifting, so I'm happy. Heck yeah. You know? Oh yeah, boys. Oh yeah, steering's loose. Shifting pretty hard, definitely probably low on fluid. So the truck drove under its own power for about the first time in a year and a half. So that's great. There's just a few things that we needed, such as trans fluid, needed some more of that. Carb probably needed tuned up a little bit. And then brakes weren't all the way there. I think they'll come back around with time. The pedal's still really soft though, so that might lead to more issues in the future, but other than that, the truck stops, so they're good. And then another thing, I'm looking at it right now, the oil pan gasket is shot. My paper and RTV did not work, so I got a good Felpro rubber gasket to throw in there and hopefully fix that. Hopefully it's not a rear main seal. I don't think it is, because I can see where the oil is coming from and from the under the pan. I was going to drive it some more, get some more driving footage for you guys, but unfortunately I've ran into a little bit of an electrical issue with the starter relay. I think it's just a simple fix. I think our cheap starter relay from Napa that I replaced a couple years ago has just, you know, crapped the bed. With that new battery, I think it was putting way too much amperage through it, and we fried the starter relay. When I went to start the truck, the starter relay actually stuck closed and the starter was going as the truck was running. You can imagine how that sounded. Got it turned off, and then after further investigation I realized that the starter relay was completely still stuck closed with power removed. I am able to start the truck with just disconnecting the lead going to the starter and then jumping that when I need to start the truck. Did get it started back up, everything runs fine. While it was running, I did get the trans fluid filled up and adjusted on the carburetor a little bit. I do think I need to play with the timing a little bit. We were probably like a degree or two retarded than where we should be at our 10 degrees initial. And the truck was actually running fine there. And then I adjusted it to where it should be, and it's kind of sluggish off the pedal. So did get the carb adjusted properly with our new fuel system. I never did that. With me, I regulated it down to like 6 psi instead of like a straight 7 psi from the pump, from just a gas can sitting on the ground, just so I could get it running earlier on, which you saw in earlier videos. Adjusted our floats properly. Our floats, our bowls were super low from our trip around the neighborhood. And then I got our idle mixtures dialed in. I did hook a vacuum gauge up to it. We are reading about 16, 17 on the vacuum gauge, which isn't ideal. It's fine. And the needle is steady, but that is showing that hopefully it's just that our rings haven't sealed all the way. I've driven the truck for like 5 minutes, so the engine still is very well still in its break-in period. Hopefully we can get those rings heated. I have been thinking recently that I am a little concerned because we were running so rich during our cam break-in. If you watched that video, you saw that the choke was closed the whole time. Wasn't paying attention to that, and when I pulled the spark plugs afterwards, they were just completely black soot. I think because maybe we were running so rich, we maybe washed our cylinder walls, which wouldn't have been ideal with trying to get our rings to seat properly in those walls and get a good break-in with that. I mean, the truck runs, so I'm happy. Hopefully those rings will come out of it over time as they break in and seat good with that wall. So I did want to drive the truck a little bit more. I have other obligations. Unfortunately, that's going to keep me from doing that. The last thing I need is for this thing to break down on me. That's not in this driveway, and then we have to worry about getting it back here. So I'll get it going in the future. Don't know where this video series is going to go after this. Maybe some driving videos, miscellaneous stuff here and there. But the truck runs and drives, so if you've watched my videos since the initial rebuild, I appreciate that. I can see that I do have a decent amount of returning viewers, so it is showing me that people are interested in these videos. And I appreciate everybody that's continued to watch. Please, all I ask is that you just hit that subscribe button. Give me likes if you liked it. And thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys later.